Imagine this. Ramadan 2026 arrives. The masjid is full. The Quran is being recited. Tears are flowing. The nights feel different. But then you ask yourself, did I prepare for this? Or did I just arrive? Every year Ramadan comes and goes. Some people rise. Others remain the same. The question is not, is Ramadan coming? The question is, will I be ready? If you truly want Ramadan 2026 to change your life, then preparation does not begin in Ramadan. It begins today. Spiritual reset, before the month begins, is not something dramatic or complicated. It is something deeply personal. Long before Ramadan arrives, before the decorations go up, before the reminders flood our screens, there needs to be a quiet moment between you and Allah, a moment where you sit with yourself and ask, where is my heart? Because Ramadan does not fix a heart that refuses to turn back. It amplifies what is already there. If the heart is sincere, Ramadan elevates it. If the heart is distracted, Ramadan passes like any other month. A spiritual reset begins with awareness of your shortcomings, your neglected prayers, your inconsistencies, your hidden sins, and even your hidden good deeds that may have been tainted by pride. It is about acknowledging that you are in need of Allah's mercy long before the month of mercy begins. This reset requires tawbah, sincere repentance, not a casual astaghfirullah on the tongue while the heart remains unchanged, but a deep, honest return. You think about the prayers you delayed, the words you spoke that hurt others, the time wasted in heedlessness, the obligations you may have taken lightly, and instead of drowning in guilt, you let that realization push you toward hope. You raise your hands privately and admit your weakness. You ask Allah to cleanse you, to purify you, to allow you to enter Ramadan lighter than you are now, because the one who enters Ramadan carrying arrogance, grudges, and attachment to sin will struggle to taste its sweetness. A spiritual reset also means recalibrating your priorities, slowly detaching from what distracts you most, reducing the noise, creating small moments of dhikr during the day, guarding your prayers more carefully, speaking less and reflecting more. It means softening the heart before it is expected to absorb the intensity of Ramadan. You begin to replace certain habits with better ones, not perfectly, but intentionally. You shift from autopilot living to conscious worship. You remind yourself that Ramadan is not an isolated spiritual event, it is a culmination of preparation. The one who resets spiritually before the month begins enters Ramadan already walking toward Allah, not scrambling to catch up. Gradual habit building is one of the most overlooked aspects of preparing for Ramadan, yet it is one of the most powerful. We often treat Ramadan like a spiritual switch that can simply be turned on overnight. For 11 months, routines remain the same, sleep patterns inconsistent, prayers rushed, Quran untouched, distractions constant, and then suddenly, when the moon is sighted, we expect ourselves to transform instantly into devoted worshippers. But the soul does not function like that. Just as the body needs conditioning before intense physical exertion, the heart needs gradual training before it can fully embrace the demands and blessings of Ramadan. If you shock the system spiritually, it becomes overwhelmed. If you train it steadily, it becomes resilient. Gradual habit building means starting small, but starting sincerely. If tahajjud feels heavy, begin with 2 extra rak'ahs after Isha. If fasting 30 consecutive days feels daunting, begin by fasting a few voluntary days each month. If reading a juz daily feels unrealistic, begin with a page or even half a page, but commit to consistency. The purpose is not to exhaust yourself before Ramadan, it is to create momentum. When habits are introduced slowly, they root themselves deeply. The nafs resists sudden change, but it adapts to gradual discipline. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes manageable, and what felt unnatural becomes part of your daily rhythm. This gradual process also allows you to identify and weaken harmful habits before Ramadan begins. Instead of attempting to quit everything at once, social media overuse, unnecessary entertainment, idle talk, You begin reducing them step by step. You create boundaries, you limit exposure, you replace one distraction with one act of worship. The key is replacement, not just removal. When you remove something without filling the space, you leave room for relapse. But when you replace scrolling with dhikr, or idle talk with beneficial speech, you slowly rewire your routine. By the time Ramadan arrives, you are not beginning from zero. You are not shocked by early suhoor, longer prayers, or structured Quran reading. Your body is familiar with discipline. Your tongue is accustomed to remembrance. Your heart is already leaning toward worship. Gradual habit building transforms Ramadan from a sudden obligation into a natural continuation of a journey you have already begun. Quran relationship revival begins with honesty. Many of us love the Quran in theory. We respect it. We keep it in a high place in our homes. We listen to its recitation in Ramadan, yet our direct relationship with it is distant. Days pass, sometimes weeks, without opening it. Ramadan then arrives and we attempt to reconnect in an intense, rushed manner, trying to complete it quickly without allowing it to truly penetrate the heart. Reviving your relationship with the Quran before Ramadan means shifting from seasonal attachment to consistent companionship. It means recognizing that the Quran was not revealed only to be completed. It was revealed to be lived, understood, and allowed to transform you gradually. This revival starts small but sincere. Instead of overwhelming yourself with large portions, you begin with manageable daily reading. Even a single page read attentively is more powerful than many pages rushed without reflection. You choose a consistent time, perhaps after Fajr, perhaps before sleeping, and you protect that time as you would protect an important meeting. Consistency builds familiarity, and familiarity builds love. As you read, you slow down, you allow certain verses to linger, you ask yourself what Allah is saying to you personally through those words. You look at the commands, the warnings, the promises, and you measure your life against them. This is when the Quran shifts from being a recitation to being a conversation. Understanding also plays a crucial role in revival. Even if you do not know Arabic fluently, you make the effort to read translation, to listen to explanations, to grasp the context. When meaning becomes clear, the heart engages more deeply. The stories of past nations no longer feel distant. They feel like lessons directed at you. The descriptions of Jannah ignite hope. The warnings of accountability awaken awareness. Slowly, the Quran begins to influence your decisions, your speech, your priorities. By beginning this process before Ramadan, you remove the feeling of unfamiliarity. When Ramadan arrives, the Quran is not a book you suddenly pick up out of obligation. It is already part of your routine. The increased recitation during the blessed month then feels like deepening an existing bond rather than trying to build one from nothing. The revival that begins quietly before Ramadan allows the month itself to elevate that relationship to a level of closeness and reflection that would otherwise feel out of reach. Character and heart cleansing is one of the most critical yet neglected aspects of preparing for Ramadan. We often focus on external preparation, meal planning, schedules, decorations, even physical health, but the internal state of the heart receives far less attention. Yet, Ramadan is a month that magnifies what is within. If the heart carries jealousy, pride, resentment, or arrogance, those qualities do not automatically disappear with the first fast. In fact, hunger and fatigue can sometimes expose them even more. Preparing properly means looking inward before the month begins and confronting what has quietly settled in the heart over time. The heart accumulates stains through daily interactions, a harsh word spoken in anger, a grudge held for months, a silent competition driven by envy, a refusal to apologize out of pride. These may seem small in isolation, but they weigh heavily when carried into a sacred month designed for mercy and elevation. Character cleansing begins with accountability. You sit with yourself and reflect on your relationships with family, friends, colleagues, even community members. Is there someone you avoid because of ego? Is there someone you speak about negatively when they are absent? Is there someone you have not forgiven, even though you hope Allah will forgive you? Forgiveness is not always easy, especially when the hurt was deep, but holding on to resentment chains the heart. Ramadan is a month of release from sins, from bad habits, from spiritual stagnation, and that release is difficult when the heart is tied to old wounds. Cleansing your character means choosing humility over pride. It means apologizing even if your ego resists. It means mending ties even if the other person has not made the first move. It means training yourself to respond with patience instead of reaction, with gentleness instead of harshness. This preparation also includes refining daily manners, guarding the tongue from gossip and sarcasm, lowering the gaze, speaking truthfully and kindly, being generous with praise and slow with criticism. The Prophet taught that fasting is not merely abstaining from food and drink, but abstaining from harmful behavior. By beginning this refinement before Ramadan, you allow these qualities to settle into your character gradually. When the month arrives, your heart is lighter, your relationships healthier, and your worship less burdened by the weight of unresolved emotions and unaddressed flaws. Practical and family preparation is often underestimated, yet it plays a powerful role in determining how Ramadan unfolds inside the home. Many people enter the month with sincere spiritual intentions, but without a clear structure, and very quickly the days become consumed by exhaustion, last-minute cooking, irregular sleep, and disorganized schedules. When there is no plan, the focus subtly shifts from worship to survival. Preparing practically before Ramadan means creating an environment where worship becomes easier, not harder. It means recognizing that spirituality flourishes when daily life is managed with wisdom and foresight. One of the first steps in practical preparation is organizing time. Ramadan alters sleep patterns, meal times, and daily routines. If these adjustments are not anticipated, they can create stress within the household. Begin by discussing schedules with family members early. Decide on approximate sleep times, suhoor responsibilities, and how household tasks will be managed. If everyone understands their role, resentment and fatigue are reduced. Even simple adjustments, such as preparing meal plans in advance or simplifying menus, can free up significant time and energy. Ramadan does not require extravagance at the dining table. It requires presence of heart. When meals are simplified, the focus shifts back to ibadah. Family preparation also means setting collective spiritual goals. Instead of each person navigating Ramadan individually, create shared acts of worship. Perhaps designate a time when the family reads Quran together, even if only for 10 minutes. Choose nights for collective dua. Encourage children gently, making the atmosphere warm and inviting rather than pressured. When Ramadan is presented as a joyful opportunity rather than a strict burden, hearts respond with enthusiasm. The home itself should begin to reflect anticipation, not through excessive decoration, but through reminders, charts for tracking good deeds, or visible Qurans placed where they are easily accessed. Reducing distractions is another key part of preparation. Conversations about limiting unnecessary screen time or entertainment should happen before the month begins, not during moments of frustration. When boundaries are discussed calmly in advance, they are easier to maintain. Practical readiness is not separate from spiritual readiness, it supports it. A home that is organized, cooperative, and intentional becomes a space where worship flows naturally, where tension is minimized, and where each member feels supported in their journey toward Allah during the blessed month. Dua and mindset shift are at the heart of truly preparing for Ramadan. Before schedules are written and habits are adjusted, there must be a transformation in the way you think about the month itself. Many people see Ramadan as something routine, something guaranteed, something that will arrive simply because it always has. But the reality is that Ramadan is a gift, and not everyone who expects it lives to witness it. Shifting your mindset, begins with understanding that reaching Ramadan is an honor, not an entitlement. It is an invitation from Allah, and invitations are not owed, they are granted. This awareness changes the way you make dua. Instead of passively waiting for the month, you actively ask for it. You raise your hands with humility and say, "O Allah, allow me to reach Ramadan, not just physically, but spiritually awake, mentally present, and sincerely seeking closeness to you." There is a difference between merely existing in Ramadan and truly benefiting from it. The mindset shift is realizing that preparation is a sign of longing. When you deeply desire something, you pray for it repeatedly. You ask Allah to grant you life until that month, to grant you health to fast, energy to stand in prayer, focus to recite Quran, and sincerity to purify your intentions. Dua also reshapes your expectations. Instead of hoping Ramadan will automatically fix everything, you begin asking Allah to guide your effort within it. You ask Him to remove distractions from your heart. You ask Him to make worship beloved to you. You ask Him to protect you from wasting its nights and days. When you make these du'as consistently before Ramadan arrives, your heart starts aligning with your supplication. You begin thinking differently about your time, your priorities, and your daily choices. Your conversations reflect anticipation rather than indifference. A mindset shift also means viewing Ramadan as a turning point rather than a temporary spiritual spike. You prepare with the intention that this month will mark a change in direction, not just a short burst of devotion. You see it as an opportunity for renewal, forgiveness, and elevation. And the more you ask Allah for transformation, the more your heart becomes ready to receive it, softening in hope, trembling in humility, and yearning for a closeness that can only come from sincere preparation, rooted in persistent dua. As we reflect on everything discussed, the spiritual reset, the gradual building of habits, the revival of our relationship with the Quran, the cleansing of our character, the practical preparation within our homes, and the shift in mindset through sincere dua, one truth becomes clear. Ramadan does not transform people accidentally, it transforms those who prepare for it intentionally. The month itself is full of mercy, but mercy is embraced by hearts that are ready to receive it. Preparation is not about perfection, it is about direction. It is about turning toward Allah before the blessed days arrive, so that when they do, you are not starting from zero, but continuing a journey already in motion. Ramadan 2026 is not just a date on a calendar, it is a potential milestone in your life. It could be the Ramadan that softens your heart permanently, the Ramadan that reforms your habits, the Ramadan that heals broken relationships, the Ramadan that brings you closer to Allah than you have ever been before. But that outcome depends on what you choose to do now. Every small adjustment you make today, every sincere repentance, every extra page of Quran, every act of forgiveness, every quiet dua is laying the foundation for that transformation. Do not wait for the announcement of the moon to begin longing for change. Begin longing now. Begin preparing now. Let your heart anticipate the month with humility and hope. And if you start today with sincerity, effort, and reliance upon Allah, then when Ramadan finally arrives, you will not greet it as a stranger. You will welcome it as a long-awaited opportunity that you prepared for with purpose, discipline, and a heart ready to be elevated.